Imagine you've spent months building a project, and it all lives in one folder on your laptop. Then the laptop dies, or you overwrite a file you needed, or two people edit the same thing and one person's work just vanishes. That's the problem GitHub solves. GitHub is the world's biggest home for code, a place on the cloud where your projects live safely, every change is remembered forever, and a whole team can work on the same thing without stepping on each other. In this beginner deep dive, we'll do it all by seeing it, what GitHub really is, why it exists. Then we'll create a real repository and a real organization together. First, let's clear up the one thing that confuses every beginner, Git versus GitHub. They sound the same, but they're not. Git is a tool that runs on your computer. It's the time machine that tracks every version of your files, so you can always go back. GitHub is the website that hosts your Git projects online. Think of Git as the camera that takes the snapshots, and GitHub as the cloud photo album where everyone can see them, comment, and add their own. So what's GitHub actually for? 3 things: a safe backup of your code, a complete history of every change, and collaboration, many people building one project together. Plus, it's your public portfolio, the resume developers actually read. Let's create our first repository. A repo is just a project folder that GitHub tracks. The problem it solves: your code needs one shared home with a full history. You click New, and here's the form. You pick an owner and a name, I'll call mine Hello GitHub, and GitHub instantly checks it's available. You add a short description. Then visibility, public means anyone can see it. Great for open source and your portfolio. Private means only people you invite. And see this: add a README, turn it on. A README is the front page that explains your project. Then create repository. That's it, your project now has a permanent home in the cloud. And here's our live repository. Let's take the tour, because these tabs are the whole workflow. This is the code tab, your files, and our README is showing right here as the project's front page. Up top, every change is a commit. We have one so far, the initial commit, and GitHub keeps them forever. Branches let you work on a new feature safely without touching the main version. The Issues tab is your to-do list and bug tracker. Pull requests are how you propose and review changes before they go in, the heart of teamwork. And Settings is where you control everything. One repo, and you can already see why teams live inside GitHub. Now the question almost no tutorial asks, and it's the one that matters most. Right now, this repo lives under my personal account. So here's the danger. Imagine a small team, and all the shared code sits in one person's personal account. What happens when that person leaves the company, gets locked out, or deletes their account? The team can lose everything. Think of a personal account as your home. The repos are your personal possessions, and if you move out, they go with you. That is exactly why organizations exist. An organization is a company office, a shared space where the company owns the filing cabinets, not any one employee. People come and go, but the work stays. So let's create a real organization. From the plus menu, you choose New Organization, and you'll usually start on the free plan. And here's something most videos skip. On GitHub today, unlimited private repositories and unlimited collaborators are completely free, so a small team can run a real organization for $0. This is the setup screen. You give the organization a name. This becomes its address on GitHub, a contact email, and you say whether it belongs to you personally or to a business. GitHub asks you to verify you're human, and then you create it. Now the repos can be owned by the organization itself, safe from any one person leaving. Inside the organization, the first thing to understand is roles. Who can do what? There are 2 big ones. An owner has the master key to the entire building. They can do absolutely anything, add or remove people, change settings, even delete the organization. A member is an employee with a badge. They belong to the organization, but by default, they can do very little. The professional rule, shown right here on the People tab, keep owners to a tiny, trusted few, but always at least 2, so if one person loses access, you're never locked out of your own organization. Few owners, many members, that's the safe shape. Here is the single most common security mistake people make with organizations, and it's one checkbox. In Settings, under Member Privileges, there's the base permission, the default access every member gets across all repositories. Many people leave it on right, which silently means every person you add can push code to every single repository. The professional fix: set the base permission to read or even none. Then nobody gets write access just by joining. Think of it like a new employee's badge. It should open the lobby only, not every locked office. You grant real access deliberately through Teams, which is exactly what we'll do next. So how do you give the right people the right access without editing each person one by one? The answer is Teams, and this is GitHub's smartest feature. A team is a department. Instead of granting repository access person by person, you create a team, say front end or back end, add people to it, and then give the whole team access to the repositories it needs. Add a new developer to the team, and they instantly inherit exactly the right access. Remove them, and it's gone. You can even nest teams, a parent engineering team with front-end and back-end inside it, and the children inherit the parents' access, manage departments, not individuals. When you give a team or a person access to a repository, you choose how much, and there are 5 repository roles, from least to most power. Read, you can look and clone, nothing more. Triage, you can manage issues and pull requests, tidy the room, but not change the code. Write, you can actually push code, this is the everyday developer role. Maintain, you can run the project day to day, manage settings without the most dangerous switches. And admin, full control, including deleting the repository. Think of it as what your keycard does inside a given room. Look, tidy, work, manage, or demolish. Give people the least they need to do their job. Not everyone who works with you is an employee. GitHub has 2 kinds of access, and mixing them up is risky. A member is internal, they're part of the organization, and get those base permissions across it. An outside collaborator is a guest, a freelancer or contractor you give access to specific repositories only, with no organization-wide permissions at all. It's the difference between a staff badge that works across the building and a visitor pass that opens one room. So when a contractor needs to help on just one project, add them as an outside collaborator on that repo, not as a full member. Right access, right person, nothing extra. Now let's lock the front door. The biggest real-world risk to any organization is a member's account getting hacked. The fixes here in Settings under Authentication Security require 2-factor authentication for everyone. Turn this on, and every single member must use a second factor, a phone or an app on top of their password. Anyone who hasn't set it up gets removed until they do. It's the front desk rule, no badge works without that second check at the door. For a real team, this is not optional, it's the first switch you flip after creating the organization. One setting, and a stolen password is no longer enough to get in. When you have many people doing many things, sooner or later you'll ask, who changed that? Who deleted that repository? Who made someone an owner? That's what the audit log is for, and almost no tutorial shows it. Here in the organization settings, the audit log records every important event, every permission change, every repo created or deleted, every person added or removed, with who did it and when. Think of it as the building's security camera footage. When something goes missing, you don't guess, you check the tape. For any team that cares about security, the audit log is how you stay in control and troubleshoot fast. So which plan do you actually need? Let's make it a clear decision. Free, and this surprises people, gives you unlimited public and private repositories and unlimited collaborators, plus the basics we've used today, for most small teams and open source projects. Free is genuinely enough. Team adds protected branches, required reviewers, and more control, and it's billed per active member per month. You pay per seat, not per repository. Enterprise adds single sign-on, logging in through your company's identity system like Okta or Google. So offboarding one place removes GitHub access too, plus advanced security and central policy. Start free, upgrade only when a feature forces you to. Let's lock in everything you now know how to do. You can create a repository as a project's permanent home with a README, branches, issues, and pull requests. You understand the one idea that matters most. An organization owns the repos, so your team's work survives when a person leaves. And you can set it up the professional way, keep owners to a trusted few, set the base permission to read not write, grant access through teams instead of person by person, use the 5 repository roles to give the least access needed, separate members from outside collaborators, require 2-factor authentication for everyone, and watch the audit log. That's GitHub the way real teams actually use it. If this helped, subscribe to VN Cloud. We make the tools developers use simple by showing you the real